besties, welcome to my November TBR video. I'm going to be sharing all the books I'm hoping to read in the month of November. Please take this TBR with a grain of salt because I have a very busy month ahead in November. I have some family coming in November, which is so exciting because I haven't seen them since pre-COVID and they're going to be coming to stay with me, and I just want to spend a lot of quality family time with them while I can. So that is a big reason as to why I don't think I'll be doing much reading, but I always say that and then I end up surprising myself, so we'll see how we go. So I have 5 physical books and I also have a few ebooks as well because I was lucky enough to get some ARCs. If you don't know, ARCs are advanced readers copies that publishers send out via ebooks or physical copies to people to read and submit a review, and I was actually lucky enough to get a few ARCs via ebook that I'm hoping to read in November. So I want to talk about those books as well, but I'm going to start off by talking about the physical books on my TBR in November. The first book should definitely come at no surprise, and that is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. You best bet that I'm going to try my best to read this whole book on November 9 or just sometime in November. I don't know anything about this book. Actually, I'm going to go into this one blind. You guys know I normally prefer to go into books, specifically Colleen Hoover's books, completely blind, so that is exactly what I'm gonna do, but I am super excited to be reading this in November. The next book I have is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. I feel like I've owned this book and had this on my bookshelf for a very long time, and I absolutely adored the movie. Like, it was one of my favorite movies when it first came out, and I have just always wanted to read the book, and I don't know why I just have been putting it off. So I'm hoping to read this in November because I do remember adding this one onto my original 2022 TBR list, so I definitely want to pick this one up. So I'm going to read the back of the book for this one. They say to live every day as if it's your last, but you never actually think it's going to be. You always think you'll have more time. That's what I thought, but I was wrong. The thing is, you don't get to know when it happens. You don't remember to tell your family that you love them, or in my case, remember to say goodbye to them at all. What if, like me, you could live your last day over again? Could you make it perfect? If your whole life flashed before your eyes, would you have any regrets? Are there any things you'd want to change? Like I said, I love the movie, and typically I prefer the books over the movie, so I am excited to be reading this. Please hold me accountable because this book needs to be read before 2022 ends. Like, it is my mission. Then I've got A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. This book cover is so freaking cute. So this follows Harper, who is a laser-focused dental student who's anxiously awaiting news from her residency program of her dreams. And then she crashes into a guy named Dan, who is exactly the sort of dreamy distraction that she is trying to avoid. First-year student Dan may not have the same passion for pulling teeth that Harper does, but he's instantly smitten when Harper makes it clear that she's not interested in trading feelings for feelings anytime soon. They set out to be just friends, a plan with the best of intentions and the poorest of follow-throughs. Late night in the dental lab and the rather unsubtle matchmaking efforts of their friends draw Dan and Harper closer. Still, Harper can't shake the worry that a romance with Dan might risk everything she's worked so hard to build. Harper may have no trouble acing her studies, but falling in love is a whole new challenge. I'm already loving Harper's character just based on the synopsis, and this seems like it's a friends to lovers, and we love a strong, intelligent female main character, so I'm excited to read this. This is a reread I'm hoping to do because It Starts With Us recently came out in October, and I am so excited to read that because Atlas freaking Corrigan, we love him. So I want to read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover before I pick up It Starts With Us because I read this book a year ago. I really enjoyed it, but I feel like I want to reread it again so I have it fresh in my brain before I pick up It Starts With Us. Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid, read. Everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, and maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. Like I said, I read this a year ago and it was my first coho read and I absolutely adored this book. So I definitely think it is time for a reread because I also want to annotate this book and then of course pick up It Starts With Us. I don't have It Starts With Us on my TBR at the moment because I don't actually have the book yet, but I may end up adding it to my December TBR or save it for early 2023 to start off with a bang. Then the last book I have on my physical November TBR is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly, which is a rom-com. I got this gifted to me by my friend Shelby for my birthday and I told her that I was definitely going to read this, so I had to add it to my November TBR. So this book definitely gives me like MasterChef cooking reality show vibes, and I love romance books that involve food because food is my love language. So recently divorced Dahlia Woodson is ready to reinvent herself and she's found the perfect opportunity, the hit cooking competition show Chef Special. Falling flat on her face on the first day is admittedly not the best start, but Dahlia isn't going to let it mess up her focus. London Parker is also there to win. As the first non-binary contestant on Chef Special, they have a lot to prove and they have enough on their mind without being distracted by the pretty contestant who crashed into them on day one and hasn't really stopped talking since. After filming a few episodes, Dahlia and London grow closer and things get a little steamy as they spend more time together outside of the show. Suddenly winning isn't as important as either of them thought. But when their relationship starts to feel the heat both in and out of the kitchen, Dahlia and London realize that love doesn't always follow a recipe. I read a book called Sadie on a Plate a few months ago and that kind of has a similar vibe because that also is involving a cooking show, but it was a romance between a contestant and the judge. And that was a really good book. I loved all the food talk, so I have a feeling I'm going to like this one as well. And onto the ebook arcs that I'm hoping to read in November. The first one that I have is Speechless by Lindsay Lanza. The cover of this book is so cute. I believe this book comes out in mid-January next year, so I am so excited to be reading it before it comes out. I'm gonna read the synopsis out for you guys. Best-selling author Lucy may write fairy tales for a living, but her own happily ever after is looking bleak. Seeking a fresh start after a sudden divorce on the eve of her 30th birthday, she decides to make a new life for herself and her service dog in LA. But when her living arrangements fall through, just before takeoff, a handsome stranger offers to let her stay with him and his motley crew of musicians in Malibu. Her gallant hero, none other than Henry Turner, the award-winning composer whose music has held Lucy together while her life's been crumbling apart. Henry might be at the peak of his creative career, but his crippling anxiety throws his personal life completely out of tune. Yet all of that changes the longer Lucy stays with him and his housemates, swiftly becoming one of their own and offering Henry a glimpse of happiness he never thought possible. As their relationship deepens, Lucy's attraction to Henry cannot be denied. But as she works through the aftermath of her divorce, she's resigned to give up on love. Henry plays all the right notes and says all the right words. Will Lucy be able to hear them over her fear of the past repeating itself? I love that our main character is an author. I feel like whenever there are books where the main characters either love books or reading or they're authors or writers, I just love that specific theme in a book. It's just so fun to read about, honestly. And we've also got Service Dog Rep, which I'm assuming is the dog on the cover. I think it's gonna be a great summer read, which is so perfect because we're gonna be starting summer in Australia in November, so perfectly fits the vibe. And the last ebook that I have on my TBR is called The Naughty or Nice Clause by Kate Callahan. This is a Christmas book, and I know it's not December yet, but I just love Christmas. It is my favorite holiday, so I'm getting in early on the Christmas books. Plus, this book is scheduled to be published on the 8th of November, which is coming up soon, so I definitely want to read this so I can post a review of it on the publication day. Anyways, I'll read out the synopsis for this book as well because I actually don't know what it's about. When Lila's father retired as CEO of the toy company, which has been in their family for generations, she was meant to receive his share. Instead, she discovers the company is bankrupt and her father has given her shares to Mason Claus, an investor known in the corporate world for his cold and callous nature. Much to Lila's frustration, her only option is to run the company with him, despite their evident loathing for one another. Oh my god, this is gonna be enemies to lovers and forced proximity and workplace romance. Yes. Oh, and Grumpy Sunshine, I think. Okay, this already has tropes that I love. Anyways, when Mason cancels the annual Christmas party, Lila throws it anyway, only for the event of the season to result in a terrible fire, with the officers and Lila's credibility ruined. Mason offers her a deal. He'll forget her part in the disaster, but she must join his family for the 12 days of their Christmas holidays. Taken to a fantastical winter wonderland, Lila hopes that she might discover some of the secrets Mr. Klaus is hiding, and maybe even a way to get her company back. However, when Mason introduces her to the secret village as his fiance, okay, fake dating as well, she's horrified to realize she has no choice but to go along with the pretense because the cost of bringing an outsider of their magical land is far too high. This book literally sounds amazing. Like, literally, this book sounds like it is right up my alley. Like, we've got fake dating, Christmas setting, small town, I guess, because they have to go to the winter wonderland, which is a secret village, forced proximity and workplace romance because they're stuck working together, grumpy sunshine because Lila is giving me sunshine vibes and Mason seems like he's grumpy because he's described as cold and callous, and also potentially enemies to lovers at the start, maybe. Oh my gosh, this book has literally everything I love in books, like all of my favorite tropes, so what can go wrong? Like, surely. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So excited. Those are the 7 books that I'm hoping to read in the month of November. Normally I do have a little bit more of a TBR stack, but as I said, it's going to be a really busy month, so even 7 books is probably aiming too high in November, but we will see how we go. We'll see if I stick to my TBR, if I stray from my TBR, if I read every book on my TBR, or if I don't read anything at all. I hope you guys enjoyed watching though. My October wrap up will be up in a few days. We had such a good month in October, so I'm excited to be sharing that with you guys. And if you guys enjoyed watching this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below. I post new videos every single week, and follow me over on my socials. I'll have all my details linked down in the description box, and I will see you all in my next video, which will be my October wrap up. Bye!